Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of City of Life and Death, a Chinese war film from 2009. Now I'm going to tell you this right from the start, before I even review this film. City of Life and Death is one of the greatest war films in the history of cinema. Now this film is set in 1937, shortly after the beginning of the Second Sino-Japanese War. Now, the Imperial Japanese Army has just captured Nanking, China, and what followed is historically known as the Nanking Massacre, a period of several weeks, I believe, wherein massive numbers of Chinese prisoners of war and civilians were killed by the Japanese military. Now, historical estimates vary greatly with regard to the death toll range. It ranges anywhere between 40,000 people to over 300,000 people. It was just a wholesale massacre. Now, this film begins with a really impressive battle sequence. We first see some Chinese soldiers getting captured by the Japanese as they continue to attack to finish off the attack of Nanking and take control. But soon after they get captured, these Chinese soldiers, we see a second group of Chinese soldiers make a final counter-assault on the Japanese. Afterward, we see the Japanese army take full control of the city, meaning that they successfully capture a massive number of Chinese citizens and military personnel. Now, most unfortunately, the Japanese military were known for being merciless and incredibly violent to their captured enemies, taking great pleasure, actually, in POW massacres as well as raping of countless women. Now, the wrinkle to all of this in this story is that there was a safety zone within the city of Nanking that was overseen by a Nazi party member and other Westerners. Now, you may be confused at this point, but this did actually happen in real life. A Nazi party member named John Rabe worked to protect the Chinese who were captured in Nanking. And this is one of the more fascinating aspects of this event because the Japanese military just want to do whatever they want at this point. But they do exercise some discretion because Rabe has ties to the Nazi party. But on the other hand, Nanking is far away from Germany, geographically, which creates all kinds of uncertainty and limitations to the situation on all sides. Kind of a slightly delicate situation, I guess you could say. And that's essentially the setting for much of this film. We follow a handful of protagonists who are simply attempting to survive. That's all they're trying to do. And I must say that the way this film depicts the state of affairs in Nanking is completely terrifying. It's just terrifying. Now, there are many scenes in this movie that will just rip your heart out, and it's totally worth watching, though. Now, with that said, this film exhibits an incredible balance to all of this. It revolves around one of the more deplorable acts in world history, but it expertly blends in a lot of nuance and views from different angles here. Now, I already discussed the humanitarian Nazi, but there are also a few Japanese soldiers who exhibit a painful regret from being forced by their superiors to commit these atrocious acts of violence. Now, in fact, the director of this film, a Chinese person, received death threats from Chinese people because he actually showed a Japanese soldier in a sympathetic light. In addition to that, there are Japanese women who are coerced into serving the soldiers sexually, so it's not just the Chinese girls that are getting taken advantage of. So this movie has a lot of complexity regarding human nature that's covered to the point where it almost feels like a level-headed documentary that's not afraid to explore the truth of what actually happened in this event. There's no cloying melodrama or ridiculous nationalistic pandering to be found here. Now, the quality craftsmanship of this film is also made evident in how it extracts emotional reactions from the viewer without the need for excessive graphic violence. There is murder and rape in this movie, but it never feels gratuitous. That's quite an accomplishment given the subject matter. Basic gunshots are used a lot. There are no, exploding bodies or crazy dismemberments or anything like that in this movie, from what I remember. But the deaths are still harrowing because you care about these characters, and it's filmed in a really effective way. There are a lot of memorable moments in this movie, many of which use excellent use of silence. Silence is used fantastically in this film. City of Life and Death could have taken like the loud and in-your-face route, but instead it chooses like a very tempered approach that burrows its way into your soul. The characters are endearing, the non-stop suspense is suffocating, and the ending is really powerful stuff. The film instantly made me a fan of Gao Yuanwan, the lead actress. She's phenomenal in this movie. She's great in this. She's been really good in some other stuff, but I think this is her best performance. Also, you may recognize Liu Yi as the soldier who is showcased near the beginning. He's been in a bunch of movies, like Postman in the Mountains, Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress, and more recently, Saving Mr. Wu. Now, I have two more very brief observations before I leave you tonight. First, City of Life and Death was shot in black and white from start to finish and looks amazing. It lends more to that documentary feel I was talking about, but the cinematography has a very macabre beauty about it that almost helps to temper the harrowing events just a little bit and kind of even it out. I found that to be a very good choice by the filmmakers. Second, this film had a budget of 13 million American dollars and is just as impressive as any major Hollywood blockbusters in terms of production values. This is really impressive stuff. Now, as I said it, I said it at the beginning of this review, I'll say it again. City of Life and Death is definitely one of the greatest war films I've ever seen. If you have any interest whatsoever in war films or just cinema in general, you have to watch this movie. And most fortunately, it is widely available on DVD and Blu-ray. And as always, I will see you next time.